Hey guys, and thanks for joining me today. We're going to be looking at some Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. 11 exciting things just learned. The Switch exclusive releases on May 12th, but previews give us a good sense of what to expect. So we're going to go through, have a look at this article, and we can have a look at some of the exciting new information that we've learned about the game. I know we're all anticipating its release to come out on May the 12th, as it says in the article. So let's jump in and see what it has to say. We're now a couple of weeks away from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo's long-awaited follow-up to its semi-all adventure, Breath of the Wild. While the Japanese company has showcased its final trailer, it's certainly not done marketing the Switch exclusive. Perhaps you've seen some of the TV trailers for Tears of the Kingdom? On Wednesday, Nintendo ramped up its hype machine a bit more with a long series of previews which granted publications around 2 hours of game time. So yeah, there's been some outlets that have got to play 2 hours of the game. They've discovered a lot of new information about the game that we can go through that can hype us up and get us excited before this game releases, because I know I'm looking forward to playing it. I hope you guys are as well. Jump down in the comment section, let me know if you played Breath of the Wild, and let me know where your anticipation is for Tears of the Kingdom. But anyway, I digress. Let's jump back into the article. So let's take a look at some of this exciting new information that publications got to play through. The first thing you should know is that Tears of the Kingdom sounds challenging, just like its predecessor. According to Metro, preview players were apparently given extra health to experience the starting area in the sky, but still found themselves struggling. It probably didn't help that, as The Verge notes, they started off with weak weapons and a Master Sword that was in poor shape. At the same time, previews highlighted that Tears of the Kingdom has a great sense of physical comedy. Yes, the game allows you to fuse weapons and shields together with a variety of materials, and you can make ungodly vehicles that will send Ganon running on sight. But it sounds as if this F around and find out the game, IGN described the experience as having kind of a Looney Tunes quality. Like when you see Wile E. Coyote goof his way into the grave, you probably take some chances with builds and platforming that will fail miserably, but don't you kind of want to see what happens anyway? So the article goes on to talk about fusing in Zelda. Experimentation is the name of the game. The preview cited a variety of combos you'll see in Tears of the Kingdom when it launches next month. The Guardian, much like nearly everybody else, glued a rocket to the minecart. Some people tried rockets on shields, bombs on shields, flamethrower rockets, and rocket spears that flew towards their enemies. My favourite tale was probably Polygon, seeing the giant spike ball that's been present in pre-release screenshots, often showing off Link's time-bending recall ability, but instead of choosing to fuse it to a spear, I'm not even sure how Link could hold that monstrosity up. That sounds pretty fun, guys. Many previews, such as this one from O Axios, noted that fusing revealed some cumbersome controls, despite leading to some satisfying results at the end. Fortunately though, Tears of the Kingdom lets you save your blueprints, so you only have to do it once before using it again. Assuming, of course, you have the right materials. Is all of this sounding exhausting or intimidating? I've definitely heard from some that they're not really looking forward to all of this fusing nonsense, and that simply they want a Zelda game, whatever that means. But The Guardian states that you can in fact ignore all of that I just described and play the game normally, as you would with any other Zelda title. You just won't see some of the possibilities that Nintendo tucked away within the game, and that's fine. Maybe you just want to kill or kiss Ganon. So, how big is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? One exciting element hinted at various previews in the scope of the game. Nobody could see the entirety of Tears of the Kingdom, but CNET notes that looking at the distance from the sky made the world seem almost infinite and dizzying. Similarly, VG247 claimed that the preview game gave them a daunting feeling of vastness and almost endless exploration. You'll get around this vast open space through the use of a medallion that can place down and teleport to later on. Now that you're feeling more hopeful, it's time to bring you back down to earth with some bits about the weapon breakage. We already knew that it was back, and The Verge says that the weapons still seem very brittle in Tears of the Kingdom. However, fusing offsets Zelda's degradation mechanics a bit. Even mashing together something as simple as a mushroom to your shield could make it immensely more durable. Another sobering thing worth noting, while every preview seems to have a different experience with this, it seems that for some, Tears of the Kingdom doesn't provide a steady performance. The second video in The Verge's write-up shows some pretty significant pop-in and stutter when Link is soaring through the air, something that you'll probably be doing a lot, as we wrote earlier today. Still, there are other things to be excited about, like the new mechanics and items. Nintendo Life itself said that we can expect a new material called Muddle Buds, which can confuse enemies and put them into a frenzy, and something called Dazzle Fruit, which will blind them. Other previews clarified that new materials used for crafting were Zonai artifacts, which you can grab from Zelda's new gacha-like mechanic. These materials can be used once during crafting, everything seems to be designed to force you into making decisions about when and where to use things. For example, when you build cars and planes, they're all powered by Sonic batteries, which can run out after a few minutes. The Telegraph says that Nintendo wouldn't confirm if these batteries would be something you could upgrade, but much like the Guardians drop parts, Zoni enemies will provide materials. Not all Zoni rangers are immediately hostile though. And finally, one of the things that struck me most of the previews I sourced today came out of Nintendo Life. While we don't yet know if this game will have dungeons or shrines, it seems that the overworld itself is much more satisfying to explore. Things that would have been normally puzzles tucked away in the shrine are now just lying around, waiting to be found, which in turn makes the world feel more alive. So guys, going through this article together, there was something that struck my interest. This part here where it says soaring through the air, something you'll probably be doing a lot of. As we wrote earlier today, Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom performance sound mixed. So this seems to be an ongoing problem in the gaming industry at the moment. Games are released and the performance just isn't up to scratch. You know, the FPS drops, there's certain stutter problems, popping in and out issues. So we're going to head over to this article and read a bit about the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom performance issues, because this has piqued my interest and I just want to see kind of what's happened within the previews. So let's just jump over there, guys. So the article goes on to address the issue of can the Switch handle Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Here's what people are saying. It sounds like the frame rate might take a hit when you're creating all those vehicles. Yeah, so obviously you've got this mechanic system where you can build and fuse loads of different vehicles together, but it might affect the frame rate. So let's have a look, see what it says. The countdown to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom continues to one of the biggest questions leading up to launch is how the game will perform on Switch's hardware, now that it's over 6 years old. The answer, according to a ton of new press previews, is that it just dropped. Pretty good, except for when things get really busy on screen. Like when Link uses his new Ultra Hand ability to craft boats, cars, and helicopters. Yeah, so it just seems to be that it's the crafting mechanics that are just giving a bit of a hit to the FPS and the game running smoothly. Nintendo recent round of previews events let various sites and YouTubers go hands-on with the Breath of the Wild sequel for over an hour, playing through different parts of the game to get a handle on all of its new mechanics. Overall, many critics came away with the sense that Tears of the Kingdom performed better than you might expect for a 2023 open-world blockbuster that was running on a 2017 portable hybrid. The graphics are mostly the same, but the frame rate is still decent despite all the new physics systems. So it's not a massive thing. It's not all of the publications are coming out and saying this, but there's the odd few and far between that people are getting some issues, but it doesn't seem to be the overall riding opinion. The frame rates appeared to maintain a stable 30 frames per second. That's so bad in my opinion. It's 2023. We shouldn't be running games at 30 frames per second. That's pretty bad in my opinion. Which made me question the wizardry of I can't say that word there. Team performed to be able that, wrote PC Mag. Metro came away with a similar impression, writing that while draw distances look slightly better, the emphasis seemed to be on keeping the frame rate steady as Link makes use of all of his new abilities. I'm just going to go a couple more paragraphs, guys, and then we'll end off the video. I don't want to drone on too much. When the Hero of Time really gets crafting, however, it sounds like the performance does take a hit. Wirecutter editor and former Polygon reviewer Arthur Giles, yeah, I think that's how you say it, tweeted that he experienced major performance issues, so not just little issues, like major bad issues. Every time I activated the Ultra Hand, the frame rate took a nosedive, especially with lots of manipulatable objects around, he tweeted. I still had a lot of fun, but I wonder if the Switch hardware is going to be severely restrict the possibilities later on. So yeah, guys, you don't want Tears of the Kingdom to come out and then find that the mechanical system, the fusing system, is just going to drop the FPS rate on the consoles, because you're just going to then want to avoid crafting stuff, which is one of the main points of the game. If you're avoiding parts of the game to enable your system to run properly and the FPS is not to drop, I think that's pretty bad. They should probably delay the game and get that issue worked out, because you don't want people to have a bad experience with the game, you know? Word of mouth starts to spread and then people start to review bomb stuff because of like the FPS rates going down. You just don't want all that stuff. I'll just read this bit, guys, and then we'll finish off. YouTuber Skill Up was similarly skeptical. There was also plenty of question marks around the performance, which I'll tell you right now wasn't great, he said, as a brief aside in an otherwise glowing preview. And yeah, it's not the final build, yada yada yada, but we know that the limits of the Switch at this point, and Tears of the Kingdom appears to be pushing up hard against them. Yeah, so the system is pretty old now. So I do understand they're trying to make an ambitious game and they're trying to run it on an old system. So like FPS issues are going to happen at some point. But there are rumors that there's a new Nintendo system being built. Whether that's true or not, I'm not really sure. But yeah, anyway, guys, what do you think about this preview of the new Zelda game? Are you looking forward to it? You hear these features that are going to be in the game. Does that excite you for the game as well? And you hear these problems with the frames per second, with the mechanical builds and the crafting system. Does that worry you? Are you going to wait for the game to come out first so you can see it before you purchase it? Or do you not really care and you're just going to buy it anyway? Jump down into the comment section, guys. Let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video.